Hello everyone, welcome to the Green Man channel. Hope you're all doing good and well. So now it's time for my first album review of 2022, and I'm reviewing the latest release from Infected Rain, which is called Ecdysis. The album was released today on Napalm Records, and it's 55 minutes and 12 tracks. Now, I didn't know much of what to expect going into this album. Not very familiar with Infected Rain. I'd heard them being compared to OTEP a bit. I knew that they seem like they're pretty popular and they're on Napalm Records, so fairly commercial band. Apart from that, didn't know a lot about them. So I went in with very kind of no real expectations of how I'd feel about this album, whether it was going to be good or bad. I didn't honestly know, and in a way I'm glad, because I was really quite pleasantly surprised by this album. Yes, you could draw comparisons a bit to OTEP, but for me, the singing in particular, the style of the vocalist Lena Akataraga, her style reminded me actually quite a bit of Mudvayne's Chad Gray, just in the slick delivery, those really raspy vocals, that you can hear pretty clearly also what she's actually singing as well, which isn't always the case with harsh vocals. And that was really good. But also this band seems to have quite a modern setup with its guitar sound. They seem to be using seven-string guitars. It's quite genty. There's some really good chord progressions. Not everything is kind of as you might expect from a new metal band, where the grooves and the riffs are more predictable, right? This is a little less easy to predict what they're doing at times. And I really liked that dynamic element to this album as well. So there was a lot of really good things to draw on. Now, going back to the title of this album was Ecdysis, which I believe is like a biological process. I had to remind myself of what this actually was. It's a shedding of skin, apparently, that you get with reptiles and insects and that kind of thing. And I could sense the themes on this album were certainly relevant to that, maybe with, wanting to maybe get rid of the past or things that happened in the past, look ahead to the future, that sort of a feel to the album. The lyrics were kind of fairly, generic at times, I felt personally, but they were, they were good. And as I say, the way they were delivered is the thing that really got me in this album, the thing that really drew me into it. So like I say, there is a bit of a new metal feel, but it sort of also feels a little bit spirit boxy or gingery, if I could say those words in a way too. Now, my highlights on this album, so a few tracks I want to pick out. First of all, Fighter. That was a really song with a lot of attitude, a lot of great dynamics going on, superb vocals, a bit of a Korn style verse with those really stomping riffs, I thought personally as well, but which was awesome. I really liked that about this track. It exemplifies, I think, what this album was doing really well, particularly its first half, with lots of different changes and dynamics that really brought a strong, easily identifiable feel to this band for me. I liked Realm of Chaos with the kind of light backing vocals we got, I think, from the Butcher Babies singer, Heidi Shepherd. That was pretty cool. My favourite track, though, was probably Everlasting Lethargy, with that really nice atmospheric break in the middle. And then you get an amazing clean singing section on this, which was kind of memorable, hooky, and really affecting. And it made it, personally, one of my favourite tracks on this album. By Showers, I started to lose a little bit of interest. By the time I got to that song, I started to feel it maybe getting a tiny bit more, not to be sort of too damning of this album, so I really liked it, but towards the end, it just lost my attention a little bit. Tracks like Showers, I didn't really like mine as much, and it took until, I think it was towards the end of the album with Never the Same. That got me back into it for the ending, and so it finished for me on a pretty good high as well, with the last one, which was the sequel of Postmortem Part 1, Postmortem Part 2. So as a whole, I really have to say this album surprised me in a really good way, and I think I would be happy to give this one an 8 out of 10. I thought maybe they could have trimmed off a couple of tracks for me personally that would have given this album an even stronger feel, even if it was just a 45-minute long album. I think it could have packed an even harder punch than it did. I don't think it maybe needed to be quite as long as 55 minutes for me. You might disagree, but for me, I think this could have packed an even more impactful punch, 45 minutes. So yeah, this gets an 8 out of 10. This is my first album review of the year. It gets a pretty positive 8 out of 10 for me. So that's where I'm going to leave that album review of Infected Rain Ecdysis. So what did you think of this album? Feel free to drop in the comments. Otherwise, if you like album reviews and lists, all that sort of thing, I do a bit of sci-fi, horror and fantasy on the side of this channel as well. Do drop a like and subscribe. Otherwise, I hope to see you again around here soon. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.